pissed are the Saudis with the Russians' military campaign in Syria? I know that you're wondering that too. Well, Saudi Arabia, they may be doing our dirty work for us. The Russians, they invited the Saudis to take part in talks over Russia's military intervention this week in Syria. They met together, these officials in Moscow, and Russia is the one that reached out to the Saudis. A spokesperson says Saudi Arabia is telling Russia its actions in Syria might have dangerous consequences. So, you know, notwithstanding the fact that Russia is upsetting, they're infuriating a lot of Assad's enemies, the U.S., Europe, Turkey, the Arab world, some states in the Arab world, namely Saudi Arabia, because they're bombing rebels to protect Assad, and the Saudis are stepping in saying, you know what, there might be consequences for this, and it's no surprise.
It's no surprise. I think that Putin had a very good understanding of the unrest that he will be creating, but I think he took the junction to challenge Obama's authority around the world, to give it a shot to become the leading voice in the conflict resolution, any way you want to take that as, you know, the conflict resolution in favor of Assad in this case. But Saudi Arabia, it needs to be very political, it needs to be very careful because it has big, both business ties with the U.S. and also with Russia.
Oh, no question about that. The Russian intervention in Syria, the suspicion is that it will engage in a sectarian war. Yeah. And the Saudis, they're saying that they're going to continue to strengthen and support moderate opposition in Syria. I'm wondering how that's going to work. If Russia is bombing moderate opposition in Syria, the Saudis are going to support moderate
And I think
opposition?
that's the concern of many around the world.
It's like, yes.
It's exactly that we are going into a very dicey situation in the Middle East where we have Putin supporting Assad, both of them supporting the, crushing down the rebels to institute this regime of oppression. And at the same time, we have NATO.
I don't necessarily agree with you, but please continue with your point.
But now I'm intrigued. Why?
Well, I don't think that we should be the humanitarian crusade. We saw this in Iraq. What a bloody disaster. And the fact that anytime the U.S. touts, a humanitarian issue for invasion, that really terrifies me, based on our history in Iraq. Yeah. And
no, I see that point.
He was ruthless dictator or not, that was a sovereign state, and we tried to destabilize it. He clearly has friends who were helping him. We didn't anticipate him digging his heels in like this.
Exactly.
And, it remains to be seen what happens, but the fact that these major world powers like Saudi Arabia, there's this weird tussling relationship happening where they're like, okay, maybe friend, maybe foe. They're questioning Moscow's motivation here, clearly. And reading this for me, it's, I would like to see this come to an end. 4.5 years, 250,000 people died in the past 4.5 years, and the fact that we have another superpower stepping up and putting some skin in this particular game is a little terrifying to me.
Yeah, it is. It makes things very complicated, and again, this hotbed of private interest of different countries trying to get again. For Russia, is very, very important geographically. They need an access to the Mediterranean for their trade, for the energy crisis that they have. I think it's good business for them to have a strong presence in the Middle East and an ally like Syria. But at the same time, the rest of the countries in the region, they want to have a say in the matter as well, and not just let Putin drop bombs and clean house.
Right, and I'm of the belief that the bloodshed happening in Syria is part of a larger, broader struggle for regional supremacy, if you will, between the Shias and the Sunnis. Anyway, we'd love to know what you think about this. Saudi Arabia's comments, dangerous consequences, what does that mean? Let us know what you think about that. While you're at it, be sure to check out the rest of our channel, and of course, subscribe to the Lip TV for more.